Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and you've come to a live podcast about CPS and keeping your children or getting back your children. I want to give you a warm welcome. I know a lot of you are hurting, and I feel for you because I've been there. I know what you're going through, and it's a very, very hard experience. The type of agency you're dealing with is very troublesome. Now, sometimes I have a guest and sometimes I don't, but I'd like to talk to you about how they interact with this podcast. Um, this podcast is a broadcast from Southern California and is produced by Vincent W. Davis Associates. And I want to thank Mr. Davis and also encourage you guys need help to call in to 888-888-6582. And I'll talk a little bit about Mr. Davis in a few minutes. But thank you for all your listeners and so forth. Well, one way that people interact with this podcast is they type in comments. That's great because that way you can go ahead and it's live and I can put your comments on the page and also try to answer your questions. This is about CPS, Child Protection Services. So try to keep your comments to child protection service issues. Um, when you do text in, make sure you have your name and the city and state you're from. Now, some of you may be um, from outside the United States, and that's great because I've had people from Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, and Mexico uh, text and messages and so forth. So, um, CPS is a worldwide uh, problem. I shouldn't say a problem, but a worldwide concern. It's supposed to be the protection of our children from neglect and abuse and family reunification. But apparently, in my case and cases of many others here, it's something different. It isn't what it's supposed to be. And a lot of you are trapped in this horrendous things. And a lot of you are really strapped for money. I know that money is important in CPS cases because you got to fight them with the attorney. And I, some ways, have to figure out how to uh, come up with the money. In my case, I had to sell my home and use up all my money. I used up and gave up so much money for getting my children back that were stolen. Yes, that's true. They were stolen. That's the sad part about CPS. That's the worst thing you'll run across. Is your children will be taken right away. They think everything is imminent danger, and they'll do nothing but to lead you on. And they're very deceitful. They're not friendly. They're not there for you. They're very revengeful. And in my experience, as a group of individuals that don't even have a college degree, never taken a class in social work, and they take your children. They traffic your children. Uh, another way to join me in the podcast is to call my office number. And that's 626-698-0990. And I can answer you and put you live on the show with your voice. I have no way of showing your picture, but I can at least put you live on the show. So that's 626-696-0990. And I know it's hard to talk about your CPS case because it's the worst place to be at. You know, it's like you love your children and you really want to take care of them. So this is another way that you can talk to them. And if you're not ready right now to talk, you're concerned about your case, and you like to talk on another date, I have a producer. Her name is Grace, and you can send her an email at grace@vincentwdavis.com, and she'll gladly put you on one of my 14 shows. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 7 o'clock at night for 1 hour each time at Pacific Standard Time. So I'd love to have you as my guest. And all you do is you pick a morning show or an evening show on one of the 7 days of the week. And she will schedule you in, and that way you can talk about your case. It is a hard thing to be facing right now because you feel kind of like you're alone and very confused, as I was. Of course, I thought my way of dealing with issues would work, but it didn't. It made it worse. The harder you fight CPS, the worse it'll get for you. They're very revengeful people. They're also hungry for money. And what I mean by that, it's $1 billion business. And when they open a case, they start collecting money from the federal government and from the state government to take care of your children. And it wouldn't be bad if the money that was taken in would be appropriate, cost to take care of children. But they take in the neighborhood of over $20,000 per child per month. And if you have 3 children taken to you, that's $60,000 a month they're getting from one family. And if you have 100 families, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And you're on the road. You're on a very bad road. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You've fallen in a hole. And you've gone through so many doors that have no opening, no beginning or end. Good morning, Faye. Faye is a regular person on here. She is a former foster care herself. She has children herself. She's has a lot of issues that she has a concern, and she wants to help others. She's from Richmond, Kentucky, and a very sweet person, and has talked to my show many times. Good morning, Lacey DuPont. I'll never get that lost time back when all this is said and done. My whole world's crumbling. I find things out too late, so feel that all hope is lost. I've had DC retaliate much more. Yeah, you reinforced me there, Lacey. You're in Conchos, Kentucky, in Arizona. Okay, welcome from Arizona. So we got Kentucky and Arizona here, and me in California. There's something you all are having in common. Is that right? You will not get back your lost time. I will not get back my home. I will not get back my daughter. My daughter who was taken and stolen from us at the age of 12. And she's 21 now. And she wants nothing to do with this. They poisoned my daughter. They poisoned it. They told her to get a divorce from the parents. They get to change her name and to seal her birth certificate. And once that's said all done, she didn't know any better. She was only 12 years old at the time. But she thought that was the right thing to do. And I think the influence of family members from my wife's side had a lot to do with it. Because that's where the allegations came from. That's where the unfounded allegations came from. And CPS stole our children right away. I got back 2 of the boys, but we lost our daughter. And it every day goes bad, so I know how you feel. And Faye dragged out her case was 4.5 years. and it's through no fault of your own. I know that, Faye. That 4.5 years you'll not get back, Faye. I lost 3 years. Our children were stolen in 2015, returned in 2018. But in 2010, soon after I lost my job, through no fault of my own, family members, my in-laws, were calling in and making allegations that are untrue. One of the family members is a social worker, and she knew exactly what to say, what buzzwords to do. And that's the sad part about allegations. A lot of people use allegations as revengeful tactics. Like your neighbor's dog can be barking, and your dog can be barking, and neighbor decides to do a witch hunt and call something false. I can go through that today. Right now, that one of the owners I rent now, I don't own, and the owners are trying to retaliate in the neighborhood. And they've now accused of my car as a motorhome, and motorhomes are not allowed without a permit or something like that. Anyway, my registration fees are really hard as an old car, but they're retaliating. People do this. People retaliate, and social workers don't care. You're going to find that they don't really care about you as a human being. We all are human beings, and we love our family, love our children, and we shouldn't be going through what we're going through. And Lucy further says, my judge recused himself. He has sealed my entire case, so I can't get my own documents from the courthouse. I never even see my current or my trial attorney. They don't come to cover court. Lacey, you can go to the city clerk. It is public records. You can ask for a copy of all the court documents that was submitted to the court. You're entitled to it by law. It's one of your constitutional rights. As far as not seeing your attorney, I don't know if you're talking about a defense attorney or a professional attorney that you paid for. If you paid for that attorney, he should not be hidden from you. You can contact the bar and try to find him down and so forth. Now, as far as the case be sealed, why is the case be sealed? You can actually file a 388. It's a motion to have a hearing with the judge because you have new development or new things in there. So that is important. Okay. Yeah. Lacey, that court-appointed attorney, you're right. That court-appointed attorney, that's called a public defender. For a lot of you out there, you have to understand, it is our constitutional right that when we're involved with the law, we're supposed to be appointed an attorney. The problem is the attorney that they appoint is going to be at the bottom of the barrels of attorneys, meaning that he's a new attorney or she's a new attorney, and they not maybe be a family law attorney. And they're not going to be for you. They're going to be for the social workers because they're friends or friends of the judge. So a public defender is not going to help you. You need a professional attorney that you have to pay money. And I'm sorry to tell you that because a lot of us don't have money. I didn't have money. I had to sell my home to get money. And it was really struggling. I'm still struggling today. And this has been 14 years. It is really, really, really hard. And its reality sets in there, Lacey. And so, but you should be able to get in there. I was mentioned that 388. It's in California. It's called a 388 motion. Let me see if I got it right here. I did have it. Oh, here it is. Let me tell you what a 388 is. motion. Now, other states, they may not have the word 3-8, but it's the same description. It's a way to modify or change a juvenile court judgment and orders. They're filed when there is a change of circumstances or new evidence. Now you got to think about that. Has there been any new evidence, or is there a change in circumstances? That's when you file it. And what it does, the judge has to have a hearing within 30 days. And you do all your attachments of your new evidence or your change in circumstances. It should be done by a attorney, because they're the ones that know what they're doing. So, but write that down. A motion to change a new evidence. It's a hearing, and it's where it forces the judge to talk to you. Now, I don't know in Arizona how the courts work, the dependency courts there, but you should be able to get that served and get a hearing. At least you can talk to your case. Now, I don't know why the case would be sealed unless there's something very critical in the case or involved. I don't know your whole case. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, I'd love to have you. You can talk now or talk at a later date. If you want to talk now, you call in 626-688-0990. And if you don't want to talk but want to talk a later time, you would email my producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com and ask to be on my show. That'd be great. Okay, Lacey, good. She said she'll call right now. So we're going to have a guest speaker, Lacey from Arizona. That would be really great. We'll get to hear what she has to say, and maybe we can help her. This room. I want to thank for all the emotes and all the thumbs and loves and stuff. That's really great that you're participating in this event. So it's really, really, really good. Now, I want to mention my rule number one while Lacey's getting a chance to call in. My rule number one is a very important one because you need to get an attorney somehow. I didn't get an attorney for a year and a half, and I regret it because maybe I would have got our daughter back. But you want to get an attorney, and you need to make a list of 10 dependency attorneys. And on that list, you want to find 5 that are familiar with CPS, Child Protective Services, and that fought and won cases. And from that list of 5, you call them and narrow it down to one attorney that you like best with the chemistry and so forth. Well, I have an attorney here for you. This show is produced by Vincent W. Davis and Associates, and it's a law firm in Southern California, and the lead attorney is Vincent W. Davis himself. And Mr. Davis is a professional family law attorney. He has many, many experiences. Hold on one second. Is that you, Lacey? Lacey?
Hello?
Yeah, Lacey, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Great. Hold on one second.
How are you?
Oh, hang in there. Let me finish my little blurb about the attorney, and then we'll let you talk.
Okay.
So anyway, he has Vincent Davis has many years of experience fighting CPS. He has gotten children back. He is a trial attorney. He has done civil lawsuits against Child Protection Services, and he can be reached at 888-6582. And when you call in, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And then when you talk to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. So he will talk to you for 30 minutes a consultation. It's $49.99, $50, and he will give you all the strategies there is about CPS, how to fight them, and how to get your kids back. So call in at 888-888-6582 and have a consultation with Mr. Davis. Okay, we have a guest on the show from Arizona, and her name is Lacey DuPont. And Lacey, go ahead and talk to you about the beginning. I guess you want to start at the beginning of your case.
Yeah, very too long ago it started, but I was called actually April 1st of 2022. Was not a joke or April Fool's joke, obviously, but I was called on the phone by the investigator at DCS. They call it DCS here in Arizona. But she wanted to have a meeting because there was a anonymous call that was called in, and she wanted to also give me have me go down and do a drug test. And I said I would meet with her, and we scheduled a day. She ended up texting me 2 days later after our time had come and gone, and she didn't show up. That she was in court, and anyways, I had been frantic because nobody wants to hear that DCS is at, calling. And so
If we could stop there for 1 second there, Lacey, I wanted to interject something, and something I made the same mistake. We all are very open to police and to child protection services. We seem to be very trusting of them. And my rule number 3 that I have here on the show is that we do not talk to social workers. We say yes or no answers, and we don't let them in our home. And the reason being is that they'll use things against you. Also, when you talk, they'll change the stories and stuff. The best way to handle, and this is to all the listeners out there, is say that you want to talk to your attorney first before you meet with her. And when she hears that you want to talk to your attorney, she'll back down because they don't want attorneys. They want people. They've already done a background check on you. They've already maybe see if your income is low, or that you're going through troubled time, or you have other incidents, legal problems, or anything else. I'm not saying you did, but they've already done a check on you. So when they say they want to meet with you, that is a green light to tell everybody out there that you want to say no, and that you want to talk to your attorney first. You don't have to tell them you don't have an attorney, you're looking for an attorney. You don't have to sit there and really give a lot of words. I have a problem of talking too much. And so the more you say, the more they use against you. You didn't know this. I didn't know this. But I wish I'd done that.
Right.
And if they decide they want to come in the house, you have to tell them that I have to talk to my attorney first. They can't enter your home unless they have your permission or a warrant that gives them, signed by a judge, gives them a right to enter your home. They cannot take your children unless you give them permission, and unless they have a warrant. And sometimes they use police because police are very intimidating with their combat gear, combat boots, and their harsh face, because it's a terrible job police have to do. I mean, it's not a pleasant job, but they're not people friendly. And so they're going to intimidate you. So you do not have to say anything to the police or things. You say, I got to talk to my attorney. Well, I'll get back to you. That's all you have to say. And you can take their name and number and their business card and hang on to it. Meanwhile, you need to call around for an attorney. If you don't have an attorney, then you hopefully can go on the internet and find out about what to expect, because they usually they do their home visit right away. They'll take your children away because they think they're in imminent danger, which they weren't. My kids weren't in imminent danger. They're put in danger when CPS took them to a shelter. And it was really awful. My family was really uprooted there. So go ahead. You went and talked to them, and then you said that they wanted to meet at your home, but they canceled. Is that what happened?
Well, I just got a phone call from her. And she left a voicemail. I called her back immediately after hearing the voicemail that same day. And we set up a time to meet. And that time came and went. We were going to meet by where I was working because I couldn't meet her between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
Because I was working. So anyhow, so we had texted back and forth. She was having to go to court to a trial or something. Anyhow, I stopped hearing from her, and 6 months later, 6.5 months later, I'm waiting for my son to get off the bus. He doesn't get off the bus. They had gone to his school and took him. I had never even seen this woman before. She never did a home visit. She sent one email to me about 3 months after she called me initially. And the school's report, and I found this out 6 months after they took him, that the school's notes that day that they went and took him from his school into custody. They had gotten a court order from a judge in another county that they could take him because of an emergency removal was required. Although again, I hadn't spoken to her in 6.5 months and never seen her. Nothing. Never.
Did you take that drug test? Did you take that drug test?
Well, I hadn't even met with her, so
Okay. All right. They violated your constitutional rights. They're not allowed. They can meet with children in school, but the parents have to be at the school. They don't be at the meeting, but they'll be out there. But they cannot. Yeah, I know. You're not going to know this stuff. I didn't know it either. But
unfortunately, you don't know any better until
too late.
You have to.
Well, did you call the police? Did you call the police to say that my daughter's been stolen?
No, I didn't, because I figured since the court order had been given.
Okay. Did you see the court order? Did you see the court order?
I did see it at my first hearing because I called around to get an attorney once. So they took my son. She said I needed to come in and talk and see her and get the drug test referral. So I did go in the next morning and meet with her at her office. I didn't know any better, and that's what I would just tell everybody. Yes, do not go and talk to these people alone, because they will violate your rights.
Right.
I mean, they stole.
Well, they already did. They stole your child. And your first question to her is, why did you steal my child? What is the imminent danger? Because
right, and I mean, the school's notes that day were that my son, they put his name and they said he is loved by everyone. He is so selfless and he's a great kid. He's honor roll, straight A student, and my son is happy, healthy, and safe. That was the school's notes from the day that they took him.
Was there a neighbor? Was there a neighbor that wanted to retaliate against you?
I know who. Believe me, that is just one of the thousands of times that they violated my rights and my right to parent my children. And I mean, it's been my whole world is falling apart. It sounds like I have it together a little bit today, but when I have a chance to talk to anybody, when they actually want to hear me, I sound like a crazy person because, I mean, my world is gone. My children are everything.
I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I feel for you. I know that it's been 2 years, and look how much you still hurt. It hurts me every day to think about my daughter, and she's grew up from 12 to 21, right. And I know how you feel. Yeah, and
it's it's traumatizing. I will never be the same. I mean,
No,
Nobody
and
can
you
be,
don't get back the lost 2 years either. So uh,
right.
I
And
know
so
how
it's like,
traumatizing it is because
yeah,
I've had 14
there's no
years
recouping.
of fighting CPS, and I'm still traumatized by them. I'm still amazed
Right,
at what they can do. Um, it
right.
seems it seems to me that in your case, someone made an allegation. I don't know. Do you ever find out what your allegations were?
Yes, I did. I had three, which I disproved. I had all. Believe me, it's been a whirlwind.
I
But
understand.
I'll try and stick to the
Right.
what happened, so that I don't get all crazy and
It's
go off
okay. It's
on different
okay.
tangents.
But what were the three
Um,
allegations? What were the three allegations?
so they always just put just one word in their paper that I didn't get until my first hearing, but which you're supposed to get at the time that they meet with you, which I never met with them.
Right.
I forget what the form is called, but I didn't. Once again, I didn't know this because once I found out, it's always too late that I find these things out. But it just said neglect, and then I found out later at my hearing that the three allegations were that that and I do know that you can find out who the person is that made the anonymous made the
Right.
allegations. So I
Right.
did find out, and it happened to be who my son was placed with. So anyhow,
Oh,
who
I
ended up
mean,
hurting my son, getting
it was a
bruises on
person that
him,
wanted
and
your yeah, it was a person that wanted your child.
apparently my son is badass. I'll be honest. He's such a wonderful individual, but
Right.
even all through this, he is
Well, was
still.
this a neighbor that what? I mean, how did this person?
It was. It's his best. It was his best friend's father.
Oh my
So I
goodness
mean, I had.
gracious! Best friend's
I had.
father. Now, did this
Yeah,
father
it was
know you? Did this
messy.
father know you?
Yes. Well, a little bit. But I mean, yes, we knew each other. They actually. I thought we were better friends than we were, but he since taking my son. I'm not sure when it started, but he has been looked for by the law because I had to move it was a hard thing to do, but he started hurting my son physically and verbal abuse, but he left bruises on my son, and my son only trusts me because of everything that's happened. So he no longer lives in the home. He's getting a divorce. He started doing meth, and
Okay,
being looked
so
for by the law.
this is
Happened.
does your son have the biological father involved? Do you have a partnership or marriage?
He unfortunately that's where kind of this all stemmed from. We moved out to the middle of nowhere, unfortunately, away from everybody that I know. And my soon-to-be ex-husband, but we moved out here together with our two children. And
So you guys were married then? You guys were married.
I'm still married, but
Okay.
he
The problem being,
decided
right, is that you need to get custody of your children and through divorce proceedings. Now, did he turn rogue on you? Did he turn bad on you?
Oh yes, and so there
Okay.
was domestic violence. Never me. I mean, DCS was called when that was happening. I know it sounds like a
Oh,
fun
so you
story.
guys have a history then of see, here's the thing is when they took your son, CPS did, was there a previous history with CPS?
There was one time that DCS was called when the police were called the first time because my husband
Okay.
lost
That's
his head.
why they
So
that's why they took him from the school. Is that
that was years prior. That was 4 years prior, and I had gotten an order of protection. DCS came the next day after going and talking to both of my children, and I was signed off on. I never had them they never called me again. I was signed off on. I did everything that was required. They came into the home and signed off on me. My husband never called them, because he obviously was not going to do what they wanted or anything.
Why did you not get a divorce from your? What was the reason you're not getting a divorce from your husband?
I didn't have the money. COVID happened. A slew of things. I mean, that was on my back burner because I then had my kids taken after COVID hit, and my father passing away, and all the fun things that happen in life on a regular basis.
Yes. Now, during the COVID, you said during the COVID, your kids were taken?
It was after lockdowns and all. My son was taken September 22nd of 2022. So like I said, that was 6.5 months after I got this call from this woman from DCS.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about your other child? Why was your other child not taken?
Well, they ended up taking her because she started having some setbacks as far as just handling everything that we had gone through with my husband, starting to hurt me, and so with him being gone, he just turned into a crazy individual, schizophrenic, I want to say, but I don't know, and it doesn't matter at this point because it is what it is. But I had the police were called probably 6 times. And, domestic violence happened as far as him hurting me. I was never like that. But, he was no longer in the home. I haven't lived with him for 5 years. And, so but she needed something different than my son. And so I had her go with my mom, because I just knew she needed different because she was becoming more and more introverted, and I wanted the best for her. So they had decided to take her as well. But guess what? She's in the same exact spot that she was that I put her, which is with my family in Mesa, Arizona. And now my son is also there in Mesa, Arizona, living with my sister. So both my kids are with family, which is, he's not getting physically hurt, but now my family has been turned against me as well because growing up very Mormon, my family is still very, very sheltered. They don't know any better because they don't know.
Hold on one second, Lacey. Lacey, I've had 2 other people text in. I want to address them. Lashy Israel. Right now, you can't call in because I'm on a call, but I'd like you to call at one of my other shows, or you can email my producer, Grace at VincentWDavis.com, and ask to be on one of my shows. Lachey, I want to hear about it. Also, I need to know that city and state you're from. Now, Heather Evans just texted in, and she says, does this apply to all states? Pretty much so. I've talked to over 100 people, and it seems like everything that I talk about is the same, no matter if you're up in Maine, Massachusetts, and the things I've told people to try to do, it does work. They may have a different name, just like the Child Protection Services is different. It's DCF. I'm sorry. In Arizona, what's it called? DC what? DCS. Department of Child Safety. Department of Child Safety. So it's all the same thing. So, Heather, also, I need to know what state you're from and city. I'm trying to keep track of everybody and see if there's if everybody's in CPS. But Lacey, I'd like you to continue on. But before I do, I want to again, I want to thank Mr. Davis for producing this podcast. And also, I want you all to know you can call him for help at 888-888-6582. And now I'm going to take it back to Lacey. And you continue on now. If I remember recap what you have. You have two children. You had a very abusive husband that hurt you. Did he hurt the children?
No.
Okay, he just hurted. He hurted his wife, and she had to get away from him. Meanwhile, her son's best friend, father, wanted to, I guess, be a foster care and adopt a child or something, and reported false allegations to DCS, and they in turn went to his school and took the child, and which is against the constitutional rights, but they supposedly had a court order, and you're never shown the court order until you went to your court hearing, which is too late. You need to see that document. It's public record. See, that's the thing about people have to understand. You have to demand things. You go to the clerk of that court and say, I would like a copy of all my court correspondence or things put in there. They'll do so. If you're low income, they'll give it to you for free. You can make copies of all the things there. So now you say that this father ends up abusing your son, and now your two children are put with family members, and now the family members have turned against you. So where are the two children now? So where are the two children now?
They're with my sister in about 2 hours away from me. I haven't seen my daughter in it's been two weeks, over a year. I haven't seen her or talked to her because they tell me that believe me, if anything could go wrong, it did. And
why is the family members not allowed you to talk to your children on the phone? Why have the family members been that way?
Because DCS, and it goes down, and I know it just sounds like I'm into conspiracy theories and all that. They make you feel like you're going crazy, because I'll be honest, that is not the case. I have my family now telling my children that I'm crazy and I don't know what reality is.
Okay.
There's a lot that DCS will put anything derogatory to put you in a bad light, to anyone involved. I've been arrested. I was arrested about 2 months ago and had to spend a night in jail.
What were you arrested for? What were you arrested for?
I was arrested. Well, they vacated. They threw out everything. The 3 allegations. We weren't even driving. There was nothing. They didn't search our car. They didn't do a field sobriety test.
I'm confused. When you say through it, what were you arrested? What were you initially arrested for?
Well, I didn't even find this out until I saw the judge the next day over the TV in the jail. Mind you, I've never been in trouble for drugs. I've never given a dirty urine test, nothing. But basically, I've never been, I've had two articles written about me, about my case in this county, and that caused, my judge recused himself due to how he handled my case. Which is hard to do. I've gone through 3 court-appointed attorneys because in family court, here in Arizona at least, I don't know about other states, but even if you are being misrepresented, which I was for sure. I know when things are okay. My dad used to be an attorney when he was alive, so I knew a little bit more than the average bear. And I am intelligent. I do know, but man, they make it very hard. I was spending countless hours staying up many nights, cross-referencing the law statutes, revised statutes, and then DCS's policy, which is its own law. Basically, it seems to supersede the laws of our, that we have.
Well, when you were arrested, did you know when you're arrested that by law the arresting officer has to say why he's arresting you? If he did not do so, it will not stand up in court. And you have a lawsuit. You have a lawsuit against the police department for violating your civil rights.
They're telling me that it's going to be 11 months before, a minimum of 11 months to get the body cam footage from this officer. So that's already been requested. Once the second article came out about my case from a reporter, this happened about 3 days later. It was within 20 minutes. My boyfriend and I were both hauled off to jail, spent the night there. I don't know if they searched the car because the paperwork in the car the next day from the impound had no writing on it. It was crazy. But what was most important to me to know, just to know like why this is happening, is so while I'm in jail waiting, I got arrested about 10 p.m., 11 p.m. maybe that night while getting gas. I didn't even have the key in the ignition. My caseworker through DCS, my caseworker called my family, called my sister and my mom at 7 a.m. that next morning. So I still didn't even know what I was being charged with. I'm sitting in jail waiting to hear when I'm going to see a judge. I'm not used to jail or being arrested, so
but the thing is, you were never told why you're arrested for, and right there, it's a violation of your civil rights.
Yes.
It says that if you ever are arrested, or for instance, CPS has violated your rights and the police have, and I don't know if that police department in that county is corrupt, but
yes. We're on the map for having the most corrupt law enforcement and government officials. That's
wow.
what you could say on the map. That's the camera.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. I really am.
Because of my DCS caseworker, she called my family in Mesa, so 2-3 hours away from here. I have my children. Very easily persuaded, but before I even had seen a judge, I'm sitting in jail at 7 a.m. My DCS caseworker called my family and told them that I was sitting in jail, that I had been arrested for. I had three alleged charges that were all dropped 2 days later. But she called. She knew what my charges were. How did she? Why? So I got arrested at 10 maybe 11 p.m. the night before. I'm in jail. My DCS caseworker knows at 7 a.m. that I was arrested for three different drug charges. And so my family knew before I even left jail, before I even knew my charges, my DCS, like, how does she know? I find that very strange. Like, how is this all possible that my DCS caseworker, why is she even calling my family? It just doesn't make sense. I'm just saying. Not that has anything to, because basically because of that arrest, even though everything was thrown out, don't have any court dates, nothing. The courthouse didn't even have records. They couldn't even print out the form saying that everything had been thrown out until they got my paper back in the mail being returned. That's the only paperwork I have. But my family now just says that's confirmation enough that you were on drugs.
Wow.
So they never. I requested a urine test.
You have to do. For instance, you can't trust their testing. You have to do your own testing by your own doctor.
That's why I pay $75 every time to have my own blood. My own testing done. Just going in. I don't tell them it's for DCS because there's also been. I know it sounds like I'm into conspiracy theories and everyone's out to get me. It's not.
You're right. You're right. CPS CPS is
Like,
not your
crazy.
yeah. CPS is not your friend. And as I said,
No.
it's like Alice in Wonderland. You fell in that rabbit hole and you hit all these weird doors and weird things happening. So I know what you're going through. I know what you're feeling. And because you're taken advantage of, because it's sad. But I think you're also probably low income, right?
I am, but I do have, when this all came about, because so they came and took my son from school, hadn't mentioned my daughter yet, even though they ended up taking her the next week under custody, but she's still in the same place that she was that I placed her. But when I went and met with the social worker that next morning after they took my son, I recorded the entire conversation. I didn't have to tell her because here in Arizona, by law, I don't have to tell the other party. I don't have to get permission as long as it's two people. So I did have. I tell everybody that will listen to record every single conversation. You don't think it will matter, but it does.
Yeah.
Because
it does.
It will always be taken out of context, or it will be completely lied about. I get the reason for DCS because there are babies out there that unfortunately have parents that shouldn't be parents. I get that. But then there's parents like you and I and millions of other ones.
Right. They say for a few. Right. They say for a few bad apples, the rest of the apples should suffer. Not all apples are bad. Okay. And yes, there are parents that might have some minor hiccups that can be corrected by doing parenting classes or programs. But studies have proven the best parents for children are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. And it's
my daughter in all of this has never once seen a therapist or a counselor ever.
Yeah.
Her grades are dropping, and so, anyways, but I recorded these.
Well, as she gets older, what's going to happen is she's going to get into vices. That it's a downhill spiral because you, as a stable mom, are really good for your kids because you care, you love them, and you know right from wrong. You're talking to me very intelligently, very compassionately. You're sharing something you'd probably never shared before with a total stranger. And I respect that, but you're not doing wrong. It sometimes helps by talking about the case, I think, but it's the only way you're really going to get out of this mess. And I had to sell my home is to get an attorney, a paid attorney, because someone that knows the laws and knows what to do.
Don't do it yourself.
Yeah, it's like I say. The analogy is, we have someone here. The word around the bench. Welcome the word around the bench, and thank you for your comment. It's really, I don't know how to say it because these cases, have something in common. They take advantage of people that are down and out of their luck and stuff like that. And I had lost my job, and I had no idea that I was going to be faced to having my children taken by false allegations by my in-laws, and they were without an attorney. I was getting nowhere. I tried for a year and a half to fight them, and so I did hire Mr. Davis. And again, I want to thank Mr. Davis for this podcast, and to call him at 888-888-6582 for help. He will help you. He's a caring man. And so, I have about 5 minutes left, which is all right. I don't feel rushed because I tell my guests and tell my listeners that I'm here twice a day. So if you want to talk again tonight or tomorrow night or whatever, there's lots of shows and lots of opportunity. I'm not going to disappear on you. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't project anything. I do have insights I've learned from other people and about questions people have had about things. And if I had more time, I'd talk about it. But if you listen to any of my shows, they're on there. My story about me is on there too. So to all the listeners out there, I really know what you're going through. I really care about you. You've reached out to a live podcast that hopefully will give you some help and steer you in the right direction. There's no question about that. Where are you now? Now, have your parental rights been terminated?
No, I'm supposed to have a hearing, an initial guardianship hearing, in 15 days. So, I do have a new judge, because I didn't find out who my DCS wouldn't give me my case number, so I couldn't find out who my appointed attorney was in the beginning.
Well, with a case of 15 days, the court-appointed attorney is not going to help you because you won't meet him to the day of the trial, and he's not going to help you because he hasn't studied your case.
No, he's not.
And it's like that. Is there any chance you can hire a judge for this upcoming case? Hire an attorney. Hire an attorney. I don't mean judge, but hire an attorney.
I knew what you were saying. I know, and thank you for. It is helpful to talk to somebody that does know my pain because it's hard to go through.
Yeah, I know. I know it is. But sometimes what I do when I'm due to my situation, I don't have the funds to hire an attorney. I do have attorneys that are taking on a civil rights lawsuit. I mean, I don't care about the money. I just want my children. No. But the civil right. For instance, your law, you cannot do a lawsuit against CPS until your case is closed. So you could do a lawsuit on the false arrest. You could do a lawsuit against the police department, and you could do a lawsuit there. But on your CPS case, you cannot do a lawsuit until the case is closed. And without a true lawyer, I'm afraid what's going to happen to you at that 15 days when you have the thing. But what you can tell the honor is that you can say to the honor, Your Honor, I need to speak to you, and he will recognize you. And then you just tell them your whole story, but you need to stick to specific facts. The problem is when we present our cases, we get very emotional and we say all the chatter on. You need to stick to facts. Like you say, Your Honor, number one, my child was taken from me and I was not told of the allegations. Number two, you go down and down your list, okay? That, and then you very precisely say straight, simple answers. You can make yourself a little speech and write down, but you don't want to say all the foo-foo stuff. You want to just get to the meat of things and be precise of what you want to do because you're trying to build on. Also, between now and 15 days, you can go to Google and Google all your questions, all your answers. There's enough there on the internet that you'll find your answers. It takes many hours of research, but you might find some things that would help you, But again, there are attorneys that do pro bono work, and you might find one. I don't know in your area if there are, but you could when you call for attorneys, you can ask, does your law firm do pro bono work? That way, you may have to go through 50 attorneys, but you don't waste a lot of time talking to them about your case. When you find one that says do pro bono work, then you want to say, is that attorney a family? First of all, you need to qualify what attorney you're looking for. So when you call a law firm, you have to ask, are there family law attorneys in this law firm? The answer is yes. Your second question would be, is there any pro bono attorneys? And if the answer is yes, then you want to speak to them. And again, you want to be precise and say that
because apparently not a whole lot of attorneys, unfortunately, family law attorneys, they don't all fight DCS because what I was told by 6 different attorneys is that they don't fight that kind of monster because they do retaliate, and it is a fight. It's a fight. They hold what's most precious to you, your family, your children, your everything, and they will drain you dry of everything,
Yes.
every penny, as you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so but I know you're out of time, and I'm thank you for listening to my.
Yeah, we will talk
Sorry.
again. I want you to talk to me again, okay? So come in there again. I want to thank you, Lacey from Arizona, and thank you, Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, for being here, for supporting me. Thank you, let's say Israel. I have no idea what city or state you're at, Lachey. Evans, thank you for your nice for your comment there. Again, I don't know what city or state, and around the world bench. Thank you for your comment that you love my show. I would like to know where you're from and so forth. So I'm again on tonight. So I want to see you all, and you have a really safe day. Um, God bless you all, and don't forget to keep fighting for your children. And this is Bob Pace signing off.